For some stories, you just got to talk about it in black and white. Dateline, September 2025. Russian drones are on the march, crossing over the Polish border as Allied forces in Europe ready their response. Here at home, Chancellor Trump springs into action, performing his terrifying war dance. Sorry, ladies, he's swollen.
But there was one performance this year that stunned me. There was nothing good about it, but it was effective and it did its job. It made its intended audience laugh when the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter, someone he outranked in privilege, power, and the capacity.
The stage darkens, and then Stephen Colbert and Meryl Streep step forward like two duelists armed with weapons you never see coming. Colbert strikes first, wielding razor-sharp wit. Comedy honed into a blade that cuts deeper with every laugh. Streep doesn't raise her voice, but her elegance becomes iron, her presence a force that silences a room without effort. And together, they turn their aim toward Trump, peeling away his polished mask. The swagger slips, the bravado cracks, and what remains is fragile, exposed, almost pitiful. But they whisper a warning to the audience. This is only the opening blow.
Today, I gotta say this, today Donald Trump's horoscope should have warned him he'd have a surprise run-in with a long-lost pervert, because the story of his disturbing friendship with Jeffrey Epstein keeps getting more. Earlier this summer, the Wall Street Journal reported that back in 2003, Trump contributed to a book for Epstein's 50th birthday, and the letter he wrote was a Picasso of...
If we live through this precarious moment, if his catastrophic instinct to retaliate doesn't lead us to nuclear winter, we will have much to thank this president for, because he will have woken us up to how fragile.
Colbert begins the dismantling with a brutal metaphor. Trump's career recast as a blooper reel masquerading his history. Every casino collapse, every failed brand, every deal that turned to dust becomes a setup for the next devastating punchline. He reframes the presidency itself as the ultimate miscasting, an illusionist thrust into reality's harsh spotlight. The crowd roars, but underneath the laughter is a chilling realization. If this is a comedy, what comes next will hurt. Colbert leans in with a smirk. The sharpest punchline is still waiting.
Thankfully, with Europe on the brink of war, America has a statesman in office who can reassure the world with a steady hand and calming words. Today he posted, "What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? Here we go." I can't believe Russia would dare take an aggressive action like this after Trump laid down a clear...
Then Streep steps forward, her voice low but lethal. She doesn't mock, she dissects. Every exaggerated gesture, every hollow superlative, every desperate boast becomes a tell in her analysis, exposing not confidence but crippling insecurity. To her, Trump isn't a leader at all. He's a performer lost in a role he can't escape, a caricature who believes his own script. The absurdity becomes undeniable. Government as stagecraft, power as costume.
Kind of broke my heart when I saw it, and I still can't get it out of my head because it wasn't in a movie. It was real life. And this instinct to humiliate by someone powerful, it filters down into everybody's life because it kind of gives permission for other people to do the same thing. Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose. And we have to remind each other of the privilege and the responsibility of the active empire.
Colbert seizes the floor again, zeroing in on Trump's war with truth itself. He jokes that under Trump's rule, fact-checkers became an Olympic sport, sprinting to keep pace with distortion. Every speech was like a sloppy novel published without edits. Chaos printed as policy. The audience laughs, but Colbert's grin fades into steel. Because behind the comedy lies disaster. A president who didn't just bend truth, he bent reality to his ego. And if truth itself has crumbled, the crowd wonders what's left to fall.
There's one bit of good news, and strangely, it comes from Washington, D.C., because today, right? Today marks the end of Trump's executive order taking control of the city. This means the police force is returned to the city's hands, and just in time, because Trump's hands have begun to smell a little gamey. Trump claims his 30-day fascist makeover reduced crime by...
Streep seizes that silence and twists it. She contrasts Trump's blaring repetition with the craft of true performance, where an actor must embody contradiction and depth. Trump offered only noise, a one-note performance mistaken for authority. The tragedy burns through her words. He confused shouting with strength, applause with leadership. And as the audience leans in, she leaves them hanging with a haunting tease. The loudest act hasn't even begun yet.
And so it came down to her. She was one of the only women who was in business at that time. And she ran the paper only because she inherited it.
It's funny because I feel like if this movie had come out 2 years ago, our reaction would be, oh, it's unthinkable that a newspaper wouldn't print this information because the president told them not to. But now it doesn't seem so unthinkable anymore. And is that a total coincidence that this movie came out now and was made during this administration?
Well, I think the assault on the press and freedom of the press and the attempt to, by government to shut down a story is something that's risen over and over again since, Brave New World. But
since this weekend.
Colbert pivots, dragging Trump's rallies into the spotlight. He paints them as recycled comedy tours. The same jokes reheated, stretched, and served until they curdled into parody. The roar of the crowd wasn't power. Colbert insists it was addiction. Trump was laughingstock, not leader. Then Streep steps in, her voice slicing colder than any joke. What remains when shouting stops? Her answer, silence, and Trump's fear of it. Together, they expose a man as a failed actor clinging to a stage, terrified of a world without applause. The roast sharpens, pressing toward merciless territory.
According to the Journal's reporting, his note was framed by a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman and featured what appeared to be the future president's signature as a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. But wait, there's more. The note read in part, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret."
Streep reclaims the floor, contrasting Trump's empty bombast with the quiet authority of real presence. True power, she explains, doesn't shout, it simply is. Her calm dismantling lands like thunder. Colbert piles on, mocking Trump's obsession with legacy, sketching a nightmare history book filled with disasters, not triumphs. Streep cuts deeper. History remembers meaning, not noise. Trump, she warns, mistook visibility for permanence. And with final, icy precision, she leaves the crowd with a cliffhanger. His flame is burning out, but the echo hasn't finished yet.
Well, Donald Trump got the Meryl Streep treatment this week. Not necessarily a good thing. Take a look. Monday, she put on a spray tan, a belly of a sort, and a big red tie to deliver a Trump impression.
Russia, my Shakespeare, and the women you will bow with the wife of the British ambassador.
They shift focus to Trump's governing style, reframing it as reality TV stretched across the Oval Office. Every scandal became a cliffhanger. Every press briefing a teaser for the next episode. Colbert ridicules the absurdity. Spectacle in place of stability. Crisis mistaken for entertainment. Streep delivers the killing line. The world's most serious role was cast of a man obsessed with ratings. Together, they reveal the fatal irony. The louder he claimed to be, the weaker he looked.
On Friday, Donald Trump signed an executive order to rebrand the Defense Department as the Department of War. Ooh, a rebrand. You know what that means. The Pentagon is getting bangs. It's just fresh.
Colbert goes for the jugular. Trump's obsession with the spotlight. He paints the image of a fallen leader, clinging to microphones long after power slipped away, desperate to prove he still mattered. The laughter turns sharp, almost cruel. Then Streep lowers her voice, steady as a blade. The performance isn't over, she warns. Trump won't let it end. Every attempt to claw back relevance fuels the next joke, the next roast. The audience feels it. The story doesn't stop. It keeps looping, feeding on his refusal to leave the stage.
Denied everything and sued the Wall Street Journal for $20 billion, calling the letter. You guys were a little late. Now, calling the letter non-existent. Turns out existent, because yesterday, the House Oversight Committee released it, and whoops-a-puby. That sure as hell looks legit. It's directly from the Jeffrey Epstein estate. It's exactly what the Wall Street Journal reported, and the signature identically matches a bunch of ones from the same era. And you know what they say, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, that duck should not be allowed within 300 yards of a school.
Colbert circles back, mocking Trump's obsession with appearances. Crowd sizes, Photoshop images, inflated head counts. A carnival barker selling illusions, not achievements. Streep follows, reminding the audience that real influence doesn't need reminders. Trump's nostalgia, she warns, is just a mask for irrelevance. Then Colbert twists the knife with his sharpest jab yet. Trump's endless biggest, best, greatest, oversold until the words collapse. The bravado rings hollow, and the audience feels the ground shake beneath it. Collapse is near.
Trump explained his reasoning for this unreasonable decision.
We've been talking about this Department of War. So we won the First World War, we won the Second World War, we won everything before that and in between, and then we decided to go woke and we changed the name to Department of Defense.
Yes, we went woke. Remember, they changed it to the Department of Defense during the Truman administration. You know, that famously woke era. After all, they did drop the atomic bomb from the Enola.
Streep strikes again, exposing Trump's desperate hunt for cultural validation. He chased celebrities and athletes, craving their approval but recoiling from critique. Colbert joins in, roasting the White House chaos as a sitcom audition gone wrong. Firing scandals, walkouts, a comedy of dysfunction. Trump wasn't a president. Colbert smirks. He was a director losing control of his own set. Streep closes with brutal elegance. Real strength embraces accountability. Trump ran from it, and the unraveling, she warns, has only just begun.
Despite all of this evidence, Trump's allies are pretending that there's no evidence. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson today.
Mr. Speaker, do you think the Trump birthday note to Epstein is real?
I don't. They say it's not.
I don't think it's real. They say it's not. While I have you seen the president's new clothes? He's hired the finest tailor in all the kingdom. Now he has gorgeous robes.
Then comes the finale. Colbert paints Trump as a man drowning in grievances, turning every setback into persecution, every loss into conspiracy. A conqueror who casts himself instead as victim, writing his own downfall and paranoia. The comedy is vicious, but Streep's words land like a final dagger. History rewards those who know when to leave the stage. Trump refuses, clinging to echoes long after the applause has died. She leaves the room with an image impossible to shake, an actor bowing endlessly to an empty theater, chasing an audience that left years ago. Neither Colbert nor Streep gives closure, because the performance itself refuses to end. Trump keeps writing new material, scandal by scandal, outburst by outburst. The roast lives on, because the star refuses to fall silent.